Good morning. It is 7:30 in the morning. I am still in bed doing some work. Yesterday, I had so much to do and just not enough hours in the day. And most of the things had like a time limit on them. So there was a lot to do. Today, I was meant to be filming, and I realised it's about 11 o'clock at night, that I was meant to be filming a day in the life / get your shit together vlog. And well, to be honest, today is not going to be that day that I have my shit together. I've got boxing at 9:30, which I was going to film, but I've been slightly unwell the last couple of days. I've had a really pounding headache and also been sort of hot and cold. So I still think I'm going to go to boxing and I still might film it. But I guess rather than this being the get your shit together day, this is the my shit's not together day. It is an hour until I have to leave for boxing. I finally got some things sorted for one of the big things that needed to be done yesterday. So that's all ordered and it's going to come, and there's still a lot of work to do for the launch of my journals. But right now I have the worst period pain. As I said, this was meant to be a get your shit together, this is how we get our life in order vlog. But you know what? I'm being honest and being real with you. Today is a little bit of a messy day. I'm not feeling great. Maybe this is a how we pull through on the challenging days vlog. Toast has been eaten, ibuprofen has been taken, we're on the mend. And do you know what? It's not over. The day has just started. This is the perfect opportunity. What I really need today is a reset day. But we've got boxing. I'm going to go. I'm going to smash out. Great workout. Get all of the adrenaline, all of the tension out in the workout. Come back. Have the first shower in 3 days. And we're going to start feeling good. And we're going to finish the day feeling peaceful, feeling calm, and feeling like we've got our shit together. I think that sounds like a plan. As usual, I'm very late for boxing. I need to be there in about 5 minutes, so we're going well. We'll see you there. Jordan's got this car started for me, you legend.
It didn't start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it went so, how come your phone stand isn't there?
Oh, in there. Okay, we made it, we're in the car, and I think we're going to be on time. It is always a close call on Boxing Day. Boxing Day log, get it? I'm always very close to being late, and then I end up being like 2 minutes early. So I would not be on time if I didn't rush. How am I feeling? Well, to be honest, because I know how intense boxing is, I'm never always buzzing for it. But I just think about how I'm going to feel afterwards. So often, the reason why we don't want to do slightly challenging things is because we're thinking about how we're going to feel whilst we do them, when actually what we should be thinking is, oh my god, I'm going to feel freaking amazing afterwards, like going for a run. And you'll hear me say it when I finished, that at the end of every boxing session, I feel so like I can do anything. And that's what I love about it. I feel so good, I feel sweaty, I feel like I've really challenged my body in a way that I don't normally get to do. So that's what's making me excited for something fairly challenging. Made it with 6 minutes to spare. Left something at home that I really needed, but never mind, we're over it. My stomach's really started hurting, like full-on period pain cramps, but got the ibuprofen and we're gonna go and have a good session.
It's a new day and nothing's really quite going your way. You got bad news that's confusing. You got sad news that you're wounded, and it feels like the worst.
You know, I said I never have any idea what body parts can hurt. Inner thighs, well, I kid you not, walking around like this. So sore. Refund it either.
No, I'll send it up when I'll send it. This is only the first bit. 0. Right. Only 2. Never do it. Constant. Some kind of.
Not fine. Feel unprepared with no signs. Will it be be alright. You just gotta fight. What about things happen to the best of us? It seems like they should be blessed. They just might be angels here as guests, teaching us to be our best. When everything breaks at the seams and you feel like you're losing belief, well, damn it, you just gotta stay strong. When it all falls apart and goes wrong, when you feel let down and so lost, and it feels like you can't hold on, well, damn it, you just gotta stay strong. 'Cause sometimes things go wrong, and one day everything's gone, but you can make it out and move on. So damn it, you just gotta stay strong. You know that it sucks and it hurts. It's like you've been cursed by the world at its worst. I'm sorry, I know you can't see it, but maybe all these things happen to you for a reason. So stay strong and push through it. Your willpower is everything you got, don't lose it. And one day things will get better. You just gotta get through the stormy weather.
I am absolutely knackered, but as I imagined, and as is always the case, I feel so much better after moving my body, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, having a laugh, being in a situation where I'm not thinking, I'm just doing. And the thing is today what we did with Jack was a new series of pad work that I've never done before, and we both kept messing up a little bit. You can't think at that speed. It's more that as soon as you've got it in your muscle memory, your body does it without thinking, and actually when you start trying to think, it actually makes it harder and you end up messing up. So as soon as I start thinking, oh, am I doing it the right way? Should it be the left? Like, what's the next punch? I mess it up completely. So it's almost about learning it, practicing it for a little bit, and then just trusting that your body knows what to do. And I think we can learn a lot from that in terms of how we actually live our lives and how much faith we have in ourselves compared to how much we overthink stuff. I am sending something off to somebody. Essentially got approached by a publisher who asked if I'd been interested in writing a book. However, I already have half a book written. They're quite a well-known publisher, so if I said the name, you'd know, but I don't want to share the name because I want to keep that secret until it's actually confirmed, because it might not be. There's so many hoops to jump through. It's very hypothetical at the minute, but still incredible that such a big publishing firm has sort of noticed me. So yeah, really, really cool. So I wrote the book a couple of years ago, started writing it, and I've written it progressively throughout those 2 years. And it was so intuitive. I didn't really think about what I was writing. I was just writing whatever felt like, whatever came to me. And it was actually some of the best writing I've ever written. And now, as I find myself confirming the sample I'm going to send them and filling in the proposal form for the book, I find myself overthinking everything. So I'm really going to take what I've learned from boxing and put it into today and try and put it into everything else that I'm doing at the minute. And I'd encourage you to give it a go too. Anyway, I need to head to Wilko to pick up a cable that I've ordered that hopefully means we can finally get our Wi-Fi, which is essential because I'm delivering a teacher training session later, and I did one last week and it was a little bit of a flop because the Wi-Fi was, well, there wasn't any and the signal was quite patchy. So I'm really hoping that we can get it done.
What about things happen to the best of us? It seems like they should be blessed. They just might be angels here as guests, teaching us to be our best.
It is 12:30 and we are currently taking shots of the journals. As I said, it's been quite the mission to get them all packed, like the packaging sorted, the pictures taken, everything ready to pretty much sell. Hopefully on Friday. That's when the packaging's arriving. So hopefully we can get them launched on Friday. But yes, taking it easy, getting things done. So we have just, well, Jordan did, called Now TV, and apparently the reason why we haven't got broadband is not because we've set it up wrong, which we thought we had, but it's because there's actually an entire outage on our street or whatever. So we can't do anything about it, we can't fix it. And I, to be honest, think that's a huge relief. I know that some people would be thinking, well, they've messed up, I should have Wi-Fi, this is their fault. But actually, I'm just relieved that it's not something that I've done wrong, or that we're going to have to spend ages trying to fix it, or that we bought stuff like connectors and micro filters that we didn't need to buy. Actually, we're all good. We're in the
We can
clear.
sit.
I'm all set up for my teacher training session, which despite no Wi-Fi, I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for it. Still feeling the period cramps and still got less energy than usual, but the thing is when we get stressed over or annoyed about why we're feeling the way that we're feeling, we then put even more momentum into that negative emotion. So what you're doing is going from just an emotion or a feeling that you've labelled as negative, then you're overthinking it and getting frustrated by it, that you put more negative emotions or horrible, uncomfortable feelings inside that fire pit, and then you're just super frustrated, annoyed, and believing that it's a bad day. When it's not really a bad day, you're just experiencing a set of emotions. So that's the stage that I'm at, just accepting how I'm feeling. And I think tonight, if we get time after I'm off this session, then we're gonna have a little tidy of the house and wrap up some Christmas presents, which will hopefully make us feel, even though they're small things, a little bit more in control. Okay, so teacher training has been cancelled. The organiser messed up the links. So yeah, nothing I could really do, but we just thought, let's rearrange it for the new year. It's easy to get frustrated and annoyed when things don't work out. But like I always say, classic Izzy, is how can you actually see this in a way that serves you? It doesn't have to be a challenge, or it doesn't at least have to be a problem. It can just be a different turn of events that, yes, weren't expected or planned, but may actually end up being even better if you just allow yourself to consider that as a possibility. So I'm gonna go downstairs. I've done a little bit of journaling, just debriefing and chatting about the day and how I'm feeling, checking in with myself. And I'm gonna go downstairs and crack back on with some work, maybe have a little bit of a break and do some tidying, have a chat with my sister who's been ill in bed for 5 days, which is crazy, and just take it easy as I have been doing for the rest of the day. This lighting is absolutely shocking, but I've just arrived at Home Bargains because we ran out of wrapping paper. I might even get a cheeky bottle of mulled wine. I spent way more in Home Bargains than I needed to, although it was all on Christmas gift wrap and whatnot. 10 metres of really cute wrapping paper for 99p, absolute bargain. All those other places ripping me off at like $2.99 for 4 metres, nowhere to look. Home Bargains is the one. Okay, it is nearly 10 o'clock. We had aimed to go to bed at like 9. But the good thing is that we managed to get the key things that I needed to get done, which was finish off getting the packaging for the journals, take photos of the journals, put out a little cheeky little plug on Instagram, which was go to boxing, and also set up the website for the journals, which was also done, and send off the book proposal. So it's been good. That is my reset day done. Part A, okay? So tomorrow we're gonna have a sit down and we're gonna talk about like the little things that I did and the little ways in which I thought about things. And also tomorrow, what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow to rejig the structure, get a little bit more structure going, boost the feeling of being in control without needing to be in control, which is such an interesting paradox that most people don't quite have right and actually leads to quite challenging problems and difficulties. Isn't that right, Jordan?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
JB! So, oh yeah, let's look at the face washing routine. So I do this every morning and every evening, and this was actually shared to me by this man right here. So my skin, T-zone wise, has always been a bit of a problem, and then I met Jordan, and you had like really bad acne when you were a kid, which is why you spent so much time researching like...
Honestly, I went through every single like cream, like salicylic acid research, all these different things I'd be on all these different types of vitamins and like things to try and like hack your skin clear basically, and all these different face masks. Long story short, they're all basically the same thing. Like, I eventually found the top rules for me: don't touch your face, like, ever, pretty much, specifically like the T-zone, like you were mentioning.
I'm still learning that one.
Because like a lot of people like rest their hands here, and they get acne all along here, and then you look at where their hands rest, and it's like exactly on there. And then kind of in conjunction with that, number 2, don't pick your face or spots or anything. People like to do that. I guess it feels like we're making progress with it by like getting rid of it, but in fact it makes it a lot worse. Makes it a lot more red, more aggravated, and it's just let it ride out. Like just take the yellow head for 3 days, but then after that it'll be straight gone. Finally, like the routine is basically like a cream wash. It's really gentle.
It's super cheap as well. They're like
Yeah.
£2.50, but the point is that it's a cream wash, isn't it?
Yeah, simple, like no oil or anything. I don't really know. Do simple, use that, wash your face with warm water, put that on.
So I was told that in micellar water, which is what most women use to take off their mascara and stuff and their makeup, is it actually has alcohol in it, which dries out the skin and takes like the skin's natural moisture and chemicals out of the skin. So I now only use micellar water on my eyes to take my mascara off, because there's very few other things that would do that. Once I've done that, I put water on my face and then rub in the cream, and literally it takes off all of my makeup. So second of all, we have separate face towels, so we don't use our shower towel.
Mate,
we don't
like
use
you're
the
rubbing
hand.
the whole body over that thing, and then you're putting your whole body over your face.
So we have literally a separate towel, and even when we go away and things like that, we try to dry our face with something other than something that's been used by everybody's grubby hands, just because it makes sense. And again, I've noticed a difference. It's not just Jordan spilling stuff at you. My skin used to be not good at all. Then it's literally a 2-step process, and they're super cheap and super simple. This lasts forever.
It does, doesn't it? Like £8 or something.
This, wash your face with it, and then this. So there we go.
Clean and pristine.
Clean and pristine. And now we're gonna go and get changed, ready for bed. Hello. Good girl. Good morning. Once again, a gorgeous sunrise. Still sat on the sofa. We've had some breakfast, but it's been a solid 3+ hours of work. I feel like a new woman. I have showered, I have shaved, I've washed my hair. I am no longer in grimy old joggers. I am a new woman, teeth brushed, minty fresh. Hair smells pretty good too. Yesterday was a day of acceptance, a day of accepting that actually I had a lot of stuff to do, and how was I going to deal with all of that stuff while still feeling slightly ill and having very limited time to do all of those things. As I said, I wanted to sit down and talk through what my approach is to getting out of a rut. You'll see so many YouTube videos of people talking about it, talking you through it, showing them very glamorously what they do when they're in a rut. But the problem is that none of those people, whilst they're filming those videos, are actually in a rut. So what you saw at the beginning of this video was me not really in a rut, just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, on my period, so feeling quite hormonal, not having showered in a couple of days. I work from home all right. I have very little human contact, and Jordan doesn't shower either. So we're just two very smelly people, really, who work a lot. That's the long and short of it. No glamour here. That's us all over. But actually, showering and exercising, getting out of the house, as well as doing work, is super important too. At the minute, because it's leading to the Christmas holidays, I don't have a huge amount of gigs. And when I started traveling a lot for work, I felt exhausted, I felt a bit burnt out, I felt confused and not knowing what I should be doing with my time because I was always on the go. Now it feels strange because I'm not moving. I'd got used to traveling so much. And then we had the move, and the move took a lot of energy out of me. Our structure went all over the place. The house was, and semi-still is, a mess whilst we're organising things. And so my brain has been taken up with so many different elements. I then had the work with the new book to do and the publishing firm, having to get stuff off to them within a deadline period of time, then having my journals arrive, which was amazing, knowing that they will be able to be delivered to people by Christmas, but then having to do all the things that then come with that, the social media planning, the photography that I couldn't do before they arrived because I didn't have the product. Likewise, not being able to order the packaging because I didn't know the exact size of the products, and so many other things that are now fairly last minute. So whether you're in a rut because you're feeling like you don't have a sense of purpose, or because you're burnt out, or maybe because, like me, you've gone from a few things changing, meaning that you have maybe more time, and then all of a sudden, what tends to happen at Christmas for a lot of people is that everything comes at once. It literally hits you like a truck, and you just don't feel like you can keep up. So for all of those reasons, and probably more that I haven't mentioned, but you might have heard me mention on this video, I wasn't feeling my best. And so you saw how I brought myself back from feeling like that. But I'm going to run through exactly what I did in case you didn't pick up on it. So how do you get out of a rut or feeling burnt out? How do you get back to feeling like you again? Number one is taking it easy on yourself. I chose not to beat myself up when I got ill, when I didn't feel like I had the motivation to do certain things. I didn't beat myself up when I knew that I hadn't ticked off loads of things on my to-do list, and yet I'd still been busy the entire day. If you're feeling any kind of negative emotion, getting angry, annoyed, or even more frustrated about it is just going to make it worse. By becoming annoyed or frustrated or sad or upset by it, you're adding more kindling to that fire, and now you've got this fire pit of frustration, shame, anger, annoyance. And the only way to calm that fire pit down is to just stop putting in the kindling and let it die out of its own accord. And I find that to work so well. I never judge my emotions anymore. I don't judge myself for being negative, for feeling a certain way. I might start by thinking, what can I do to change this? But if that immediately doesn't work, for instance, listening to music, going on a walk, having a shower, eating some food, doing things that maybe usually would make myself feel good, then I just leave it alone. I leave it be. Because anything else that I do just adds resistance to feeling better. It adds more frustration. It adds more to the fire pit that you don't want in there. Number two, early yesterday morning, I went out and did some boxing. And part of the reason why I didn't cancel that boxing session, even though I wasn't feeling great physically or mentally, or even because I had so many other things to do, was because getting out of your comfort zone physically can actually really help. So either going for a walk in cold temperatures, like at the minute, just going out of the house, no matter how many layers you put on, it's still going to be cold, at least in England. But maybe it's getting some exercise. And I know with boxing, it takes me so far physically out of my comfort zone that it shocks my body into feeling like it's actually making progress, like it's stronger than it currently feels. And at the end of each boxing session, I always walk away feeling freaking amazing. You saw my face. If not, go back and look at the video of me going into boxing and the video of me coming out. The proof's in the pudding. But that also leads on to the next step, which is doing something that stops you thinking. Again, the problem is when we're feeling negative emotion, we're in a rut, we're anxious about something, we start overthinking. So even if you feel like you're not adding more emotion into the fire pit, let's continue with that metaphor, you might be adding to it through your thoughts. You see, when you're already feeling low, that's the worst time to start thinking about things because you're coming at situations from a weaker, more problem-focused perspective rather than a, I'm strong enough to handle this, how can we make this the best that it can be perspective. So for me in this instance, I was doing a lot of things that needed me to think, measuring the products so I could make sure that the labels, boxes, mailing bags, all of those things were correct, that everything on the proposal form for the book was correct. There was a lot that I had to think about to get things off in time, to get things done. And even in terms of this vlog, yesterday, it was another thing that at 11 o'clock the night before, I remembered and then thought, crap, that's another thing I have to think about. So making sure, no matter how busy you are, you take some time to do things that aren't actually too demanding of your brain will really help you in the long run. And yeah, if I was a mindfulness coach, I'd probably be telling you to meditate, and that if you didn't have time to meditate for 10 minutes, then you should meditate for an hour. That's what they say, right? But I don't meditate. And I think there are many ways in which you can meditate and free your mind from overthinking and be really engrossed in a flow state of something. For me, it was boxing, it was rapping, it was spending time with Jordan, it was watching the sunrise. All of those little things that just give you a time to breathe and give your mind a little bit of a restart. Number 4, something that I like to do at the end of a day or a week that maybe has been pretty challenging, or I'm feeling really exhausted and maybe I don't know why. Maybe I'm judging myself for feeling low because I can't find a reason to explain why. What I like to do is get my journal. Now I know that this isn't my new journal that I made. My new journal's right there. Also, I realized when this comes out, you'll be able to buy them, which is pretty crazy. So if you want to do that, I'll pop the link in the description. But I'm not going to waste this journal just because mine have arrived, so I've got to finish this first. What I did last night was I wrote down everything that I'd done during the day, and I was shocked, absolutely shooketh. It was a double pager. Simply by writing these things down, it really made me reflect on all of the achievements I'd made throughout that day. So whilst I was, yes, still feeling exhausted, yes, still feeling tired, yes, still feeling like I had loads left to do, writing that list and reflecting on it made me feel really actually quite proud of myself, really impressed by how much I'd got done. And it actually, not that you need to justify the way that you feel, but it did defend and justify why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. It made total sense, and I like things that make sense. So that is something that I would always recommend. What I also do is every Sunday, I will write down all of the wins that have happened throughout the week. So whether it's that Jordan and I had a really nice moment together, we had a really nice evening somewhere, or I got a cool inquiry from somewhere, or like whatever it might be, I write down my wins and it makes me feel grateful for that week. It makes me see how much progress I've made within that week. Now you might sit down with your piece of paper at the end of a day, end of the week, or even at the end of the year and think, well, I haven't achieved anything. It's not true. You have achieved a lot. You've just got to allow yourself to see it. You will have achieved more than you realize. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. And that's actually why it really helps to keep a journal, because I wouldn't remember what I'd achieved or what had happened within the week if it wasn't for my journal. I obviously write down what's happened. So on a Sunday, I'll skim through and be like, oh my gosh, that happened. I thought that happened like 3 months ago. But no, I'm just so caught up in the days, so caught up with work and Christmas and what I'm doing, that actually it was only about 5 days ago that that brilliant thing happened. Also, if something brilliant happens and you're excited about it for that day, you might then start to take it for granted. But writing it down reminds you that, hang on a minute, 6 days ago, that hadn't happened. I hadn't received that money. I hadn't made that sale. I hadn't got that job offer. And even though it feels normal now because you've got used to it and it's a new normal for you, at the beginning of that week or before that week, that wasn't quite the case. So I'd really encourage you to do that. And especially if you're feeling like maybe you're a really busy mum or really busy parent and you feel like you're never getting enough done. You seem to be constantly busy, yet not actually achieving anything. I know a lot of people who express feelings like that, whether a mum or otherwise. Write down what you've done. You'll be surprised. You haven't wasted time. You've done stuff. Even if it's replying to an email or having a conversation with your neighbour who can't stop talking. There will always be things that you've done that you're actually quite proud of. You've just got to give yourself the time and the space to reflect on it. So again, if you're looking for a journal to use as an opportunity to reflect how you're feeling, maybe make journaling a New Year's resolution, or Or even better, actually something that you're going to start doing before it gets to the new year. Why don't you start becoming the version of you that you want to achieve in 2023? Start achieving that now. Set it as the precedent. Start doing whatever it is that you want to do in the new year. And I would suggest getting on to journaling if you haven't done it already. It's also worth saying something that I've started doing that's quite personal and you might find a bit silly. You might think, well, I'm not doing that. But it surprises me every time. Whenever I write in my journal, either I'm proud of you or I love you, I feel a little shiver run through my body. I feel myself almost shocked to see those words written about me by myself. And again, that might sound silly to you, but sometimes what we want more than ever is to have someone tell us that they are proud of us or that they love us. And the problem with that is if we don't believe it ourselves, we won't believe them saying it either. So whilst it's nice to hear, and it will sometimes send a little shiver through us and make us feel really good, especially if it's somebody that wouldn't usually say those things. But actually when we say it to ourselves, we know whether we're lying to ourselves. And what I find is if I've written that down and I do get that little shiver, it means I needed it. I needed to hear that I love myself. So it's something that I've never shared before, but hopefully you might be able to find a little phrase that works for you, that when you write it down and look at it, it actually really makes you feel something and is really powerful. Step number 5, which is start to add a little bit of structure into your day. Now, I don't mean full on structure out every section of your day or get back to the amount of structure you had before. Maybe you're recently unemployed and you don't have the same structure as you did before. Maybe you've just broken up for the school holidays and again, you don't know what to do with your time. For me, little parts of my structure had gone out the window. Usually what happens is we'll wake up at 5 a.m. One of us will come downstairs and make a coffee, let Cassie out, our cat, give her some food, bring up the coffee to the other person, and then one person will journal downstairs whilst the other journals upstairs. I'll talk for myself because Jordan's routine might have changed, but what I'll do is I'll usually light a candle, have relaxing music playing in the background, and then I would get on with a little bit of work. After that, we would go out on a 1 mile run, come back, have a shower, put it on full on cold at the end, a little challenge for the day. And I'm not lying when I say all this, we genuinely get up at 5, we genuinely go for a run, we genuinely have a cold shower, we genuinely journal. I'm not just saying that because I'm like, oh yes, this is what you should do to get out of a rut. Like, we actually do it because we know it helps. You might not be a morning person, so I'm not encouraging you to do 5 a.m.s if that's not for you. You might not be a writer, you might be dyslexic, you might have ADHD. Don't journal, voice note, or go on a walk and listen to music, or just sit and play with a Rubik's Cube and let your mind wander, or talk out loud. Whatever works for you. But that's what we would usually do when we're on top of it, right? However, if you're in a rut, going straight back into full-on structure or something as full-on as that is usually not the best thing to do, is not the best approach. So what I would suggest is selecting little elements from your usual structure or a structure that you think would be better for you and start implementing it in your day-to-day. So today, I got up at 5 a.m, I went and got the coffee, I brought it up to Jordan, and then I sat here and I journaled. Now, I didn't go on a 1 mile run. I didn't shower straight away. I sat here and I journaled and then I worked. But then I did go up and wash my hair. It might have been at about 11 o'clock, but I washed my hair, I shaved, and I got back to feeling a little bit more with it again. So do you see how from that whole list of things I would normally do, I didn't force myself to jump back into that. I just selected a couple of things that I knew would really help, and I'm really proud of myself for doing those things. The 6th and final step is that this morning I wrote out a to-do list. I thought, do you know what? I've got a lot to do, and again, the less I can have on my mind, the better. I knew that I've got so much on, so many things to do, that the last thing I need is to be trying to remember what those things are. So I wrote down a 1.5 pages of tasks that I kind of really need to do in the next week. However, if you're already feeling low and overwhelmed and unmotivated, then writing out a whole list of things that you need to do is really pressurizing and is probably going to end up in you doing none of them as opposed to completing them all. So what I then did was I put little stars next to all of the things on the to-do list that I actually needed to do today. So for instance, as I'm filming this, it's a Thursday. My podcast comes out on a Friday. So I have to film my podcast today. I've just been reminded that I have a coaching intro session in 15 minutes, so I've got to keep this short and sweet. So do my intro session, that's in 15 minutes, so I've got to do that. I had to do the pre-social media posts for the launch of the journals tomorrow because, again, that's tomorrow. So if you are writing a to-do list, that's fine, but make sure you put some kind of indicator on what has to be done and what actually would just be a bonus if it was done. And that way you'll prevent yourself getting more burnt out or going around the whole spiral again. So those are 6 things that I did, and I really hope will help you if you are indeed feeling the same way as I did at the beginning of this video. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, share with somebody who you think needs to hear this and could really benefit from it. Press that notification bell if you want to be notified every time I come out with a new video, and all that's left to say is I appreciate you.